Hey, it's Drybear. The hotfixes for Dragonflight keep on rolling. We're getting constant hotfix changes, so today we're going to be checking in with the hotfixes that we've missed. As always, if you have any questions or comments for me, you'll find me live every day on twitch.tv/Drybear. Come by and say hi. Starting with January 26th, hotfixes. This is just after the 10.0.5 update went live. First thing to talk about is Druid, Protector of the Pack healing bonus to regrowth and damage bonus to Moonfire has been increased by 60%. And they say that previously this talent was gaining extra benefit from various modifiers, and with the patch, they changed it to grant the exact bonus listed in the tooltip for clarity and to reduce the swings in value. And when they did that, it ended up nerfing it pretty hard. So they ended up buffing it 60% to hopefully get it back in line with where it was before. Guardian, there was an issue with Raise that was causing it to consume extra Tooth and Claw stacks. So that has been changed. Warlock, Affliction, fixed an issue where the 4-piece set bonus Cruel Epiphany was being removed when casting Seed of Corruption, causing it to not benefit. Big sad face. I didn't realize this was happening for Affliction, but glad to see that it got fixed. Fixed an issue where Grimoire Felguard affected the cooldown of Guillotine, Demonic Strength, and Fellstorm. And they also, with the patch, had been putting each other on. So this was a weird one. It made it so like you couldn't actually use these one after the other. They did have an internal cooldown. There just was no representation for it. So they changed it so that you actually have a visual cooldown representation for it. But when they changed it, they ended up giving it more of a cooldown than it used to. So now they fixed it so that it is the exact correct cooldown for it. Dungeons and Raids, Senarth the Cold Breath. Senarth no longer casts Chilling Blast immediately before entering phase 2, which is really obnoxious as everyone's running towards, trying to get into position for phase 2. She causes it and it just becomes really, it almost feels a little like Lost Ark RNG where you just get screwed over. So they're removing that possibility for Senarth. Enemies and NPCs. Fix an issue that caused the rare enemy Bloodbeak the Ravenous in Nakut Hold to have its health scale with attackers. This was really annoying. If you ever did Nakut Hold, if you ever did almost any of the rares, but Bloodbeak was probably the worst. If you had a big raid group going for doing the storm, and then you took that raid group and attacked the rare mob, it would get 1,000,000 health. And you've probably experienced this where you just sat there for like 10 minutes straight killing a rare. The health was just out of control. So hopefully that's fixed. Next is a Cobalt Assembly. So some backstory on this. Experience granted by enemies associated with the Cobalt Assembly has been greatly reduced. This actually came later than I thought it was going to. So there was a way where you could group with level 70s and do Cobalt Assembly where they would get, the old, the buffs that you get from Cobalt Assembly and they can clear mobs. And even at level 10, you're still getting massive amounts of experience. So people were actually selling speed boosts or power levels by grouping with someone in Cobalt Assembly, and you could go from level 10 to level 70 very quickly. In fact, 60 to 70 with a good group was like 2 hours. This was going on for a long time, and people were making tons and tons of money off this, just charging people per hour for gold. So they actually ended up hotfixing it yesterday. So from the start, the Cobalt Assembly was intended to be a max level feature, and Sundered Flame enemies should not have granted significant amounts of XP. Having a max level player kill enemies while in a party with lower level players who stand around and do nothing but receive XP and repetition is not the sort of gameplay we wish to encourage. We've adjusted the XP rate rather than removing it completely to encourage players to level in more fun, interactive ways, while still leaving this as an option that is no longer the best option. They didn't say by how much they reduced it, but it's going to be nowhere near as fast as it was before. So if you were one of the people that grouped and got, a 2-hour level 70, good on you, grats. Hope it was worth your gold. And then anyone else who's curious, it's probably not super viable anymore. Not that it's that hard to get, it's like 6 hours to get to 70 manually anyway. So not super, super intense. Items and rewards, the Falling Star Flinger and Falling Star Catcher can now only be used outdoors. Thanks to the assistance of a couple blonde bronze dragons, the Legion Time Walking Vendor items now reflect the correct item levels. Remove the holiday requirement from any holiday transmog rewards. Fix an issue where using Wind Scar Whetstone caused other on-use trinkets to remain unusable for several additional seconds past the displayed cooldown. Wow, I didn't know that was happening either, but there you go. That's fixed now. War mode fixed an issue that prevented characters from earning the Horde Slayer and Lion Slayer titles. Professions fixed an issue where crafting easy throw gravitational displacer could craft ordinary gravitational displacers at certain qualities. That probably felt pretty bad, but fixed up now. Quests. The Azure Span. In addition to completing tasks for a Big Canuck, players can also earn credit for the quest Community Feast and aiding the Accord of Feast for All by throwing any discovered meat into the pot or by yelling "Yes, Chef" when given a new task. Okay, so if you're like slotting in at the very end of the feast and there's only just meat on the ground and there's no like next stage coming and you're gonna miss the feast, I guess you could just yell "Yes, Chef" or throw meat in and still get credit. That makes it a little bit easier. I mean, if you're there the whole time, this doesn't really matter, but if you're kind of showing up late and you've missed one of the check marks of doing one of the tasks, then you can at least still get credit. Storm's Fury, the new Primal Storm that we had, has had a bunch of issues. Fixed an issue that caused players to continue to gain stacks of warmth when at the Temporal Conflicts area after the event is over. Fixed an issue with portal capture so that captures occur faster based on number of nearby players. Thank God. That's really cool. Fixed an issue that caused the lighting to rapidly change when entering or exiting a heat source. Resisting the Storm can now be completed when in a raid group. Big. The HP of all bosses in the Storm's Fury event has been significantly reduced, and the HP of the Winter's Aegis enemies during the Glackus Winter's Wrath boss encounter has been significantly reduced. Cool. And then the day before, which is the day after patch day, Evoker Devastation fixed an issue causing Firestorm to extend Fire Breath longer than intended. Preservation Resonating Sphere will no longer count pets towards the 6-player cap. I haven't tried my Provoker yet, but I can imagine, especially like with a Demonology Warlock nearby. Oh, that would be so painful. It sucks that was happening, but glad they got fixed. Lifebind and other healing effects will no longer be capped at replicating at 7 targets from Echo. Cool. Fixed an issue that caused Dream Breath sometimes cast instantly when the spell was canceled. Monk fixed an issue with Mistweaver where Renewing Mist was not applying its heal over time effect. I haven't played my Mistweaver since the patch yet either. I've been testing Disc and some of the tanks and things like that, so we're kind of working my way around to the new caster build. But I did see people in my raids complaining that Renewing Mist was, there's something wrong with it. They couldn't tell what it was, but they were saying that there's something wrong with it. So I guess that's what it was. It just wasn't healing. Creatures and NPCs, the War Mode and Primal Storm vendors have returned for all your upgrading needs. Neato. Dragon Riding fixed an issue where Dragon Riding customizations would not properly apply to mounts after being saved. This one was, I think, happening since launch. So I guess they kind of got that one out of the way, huh? Crimson Gladiator's Prestigious Cloak Transmog now properly unlocks for Duelist, the Tabard for Elite, the Tabard purchased from the vendor in the Gladiator Sanctum, and then the Prestigious Cloak and the Tabard appearances will be granted to players who have earned the appropriate requirements during Season 1. So for characters who have completed the appropriate requirements to earn the appearances during Season 1 may need to relog a few times to be added retroactively. So I guess there was issues where you weren't getting those transmogs. Quests. Rupert, the Gentlemental, has redoubled his efforts to ensure the handholds for climbing world quests across the Dragon Isles are always set where they need to be. Kind of a minor thing, but glad that got fixed. And then fixed an issue where players who participated in the Community Feast would not get quest credit for the quest Community Feast or aiding the Accord. So this fix here, plus the other one where if you show up late to the thing and you can still get credit, should make the community quests a little bit easier, the Community Feast a little bit easier to pack. So that's where we're at right now. Some kind of major changes, some fixes and some buffs and things like that. And then some changes for the dungeons and cleanups there as well. So that's it. That's what we got for hotfixes today. I'll try to keep you guys up to date on all the hotfixes. They've been rolling out like almost every day. So kind of just trying to keep up with it so everyone knows what's going on. As always, if you have any questions or comments for me, you'll find me live every day on twitch.tv/Drybear. Come by and say hi. If you enjoyed yourself today, leave a like down below. You can support me and my work on Patreon and view Patreon exclusive content, link in the description. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.